All right, so we're going to go over putting citations or quotes from the articles that you read to make your argument stronger. So, I'm going to open this up. We're going to look at this, and then we're going to practice just making sure we know how to do that. All right, so this is basically just a guide for including quotations in your writing. Okay, so the thing that you need to make sure you do, though, before you cite information is set it up. Okay, what I mean by that is before you put the quote into your writing, you need to make sure I know who is speaking, where it's coming from, and then what's being described. I can't just put a quote from an article without talking about why I have it in there in the first place or who's saying it. Okay, now steps. Okay, again, obviously you locate where the information is in the article, which we have been doing on the little table. Make sure I set it up, which I'll show you how to do in a second. Put it in there, obviously, and then make sure that I explain it. Okay, so those are the 4 steps that you need to make sure you do. Now, this should say 3. I don't know why it says 4. Just ignore the 4. So this is basically the document you should be looking at when you're doing it. So you need to have a sentence starter. These are examples of ones that you can use. So if I'm going to take a quote from an article, I'm going to start off with one of these. Okay, then I'm going to actually put whatever it is that I'm taking in quotes, and then the last part, is explaining how it makes my why the quote's important for my answer. Okay, so again, this is an example using the first story that we read. Okay, so this first part is me setting it up. This blue part is the quote itself, and then this last part is me explaining the quote. So it says in the article, "Get out off the couch and play," the author states. Again, I just talk about who's talking, where it's from. Second part is the quote itself. Students learn important life skills such as how to accept criticism, how to handle oneself under pressure, how to work towards a goal, and how to win and lose graciously. And then the last part is me explaining why that quote's useful for my argument. So each of these skills is useful for growing children. This shows the positive effect that competitive sports can have. Right? So you need to make sure you're doing all 3 of these things when you go take a quote. Most of you guys don't have a quote. I'll be honest when I looked at your writing. Okay, so you need to make sure that you're taking quotes. That's why we were doing the whole table in the first place. So let me go to News ELA. We're going to do this whole process again. I'm going to read an article real quick. Just take a couple of notes down. Find it. So you don't have to open this up right now. You can just look at my screen for now, but just realize that this is obviously here. So what you do need to do, though, is just open up a new Google Doc, because we're going to do something in a second. So make sure you have a new Google Doc open. So we're going to read this article. All right, so you don't have to have it open because you can just look at my screen. But what you need to do is create a new Google Doc. So make sure you have a blank Google Doc open, just like this. It should look just like this, nice and plain. Right, so I'm going to do 2 things. So let me pull this out here. This one. All right, so I'm just going to split screen myself. So that goes right. Go back in there. This goes left. All right, so you should have a blank document. Let's call it News ELA example. Citations. Make sure you have this and make sure you're writing that. So you should have a blank document open right now that says News ELA example citations with the title. I'll give you guys like 30 seconds to do that. Okay. You don't have to have this article open, but you can if you want. It doesn't make a difference. I'm going to read it, and then we're going to go over it. So, all right, second step is inserting a table. Remember how to do that. Insert table, and then we're going to make it, we're not going to make it as big as we usually do. Let's make it 3 by 10. Okay, so it should be 3 by 10. Click on that. Okay, so you should have this. Make sure you have that. All right, now I'm going to put the name of the article, which I'm just going to copy paste. Okay, copy paste this thing over here. Well, actually, I'm going to copy paste it. You're going to write it because you don't have it open. So I'll give you guys a little bit of time to write that. So you're going to write, exercise is important for everyone. even kids as young as 3, and that just goes on the top. I'll give you guys a minute to write that down.
My favorite and my bed I can wait. My Wi-Fi turned off and that was
Okay, Miss Herrera. Just make sure you have a Google document open and that you have a table that's 3 by 10.
Mister, don't you mean 3 by 20?
No, 3 by 10. We're not going to have as much information on this. If we had a bigger article with lots of arguments, we'd make it 3 by 20, but 3 by 10 is fine. All right. So again, this first column would be pros for kids should play. One, cons, kids shouldn't play. And this one is just where in the article. Okay. Let me make these all bigger so that you can see them. 26. All right, make sure you guys have that written down as well.
Mister, can you share with me because it like nothing wants to load for me?
What do you want me to share this document?
Huh?
This document you want shared?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so again, I'm recording this video too, so those of you guys who are lost will know what actually we're doing, or if you don't have connection or whatever. All right, so again, I'm just going to read the article real fast. We're going to look at arguments for or against kids playing sports, and then make sure that we put where we're getting them from in the article. So let's start off with the first paragraph. New government guidelines want kids to move more, sit less, and get active as young as the age of 3. The guidelines stress that all exercise, any amount, and any type, helps health. So from using this first paragraph, this last line gives me a reason. So what's the reason I could put on the left side here? Can you guys see that? Maybe too small for you. Let me make it bigger. So what's a reason I can put? What is that last line telling me there? What reason can I use for why kids should be playing based off of that sentence there?
It helps your health.
Yes, exactly. Any sports, any exercise will help your health. So that's what I'm going to write. Right. Any activity helps health. Paragraph. Oh no. Make sure you have that. The advice is the first update since the government's physical activity guidelines came out 10 years ago. Since then, the list of benefits of exercise has grown. There's more evidence to suggest that things that were of unknown value before, this means short, high-intensity workouts and taking the stairs instead of an elevator, are good for you. Okay, there's really nothing there in that second paragraph. Third one, doing something is better than doing nothing, and doing more is better than doing something, said Dr. Donald Lloyd Jones, a preventive medicine expert at Northwestern University in Chicago. Only 20% of Americans get enough exercise now. Childhood obesity. What does the word obesity mean? Does anybody know that word? Obesity. Does anybody know what obesity means? I will tell you if you do not. Anybody? Ever hear that word before? I'm guessing not. All right, so obesity means fat. Okay, so fat kids, essentially. So childhood obesity problem has pushed doctors to aim younger to prevent poor health later in life. All right, so there are three reasons in this paragraph. What's one of them? What is one of the reasons for why kids should be playing? There's three in that paragraph. Let me make it bigger for you to see. Ooh, what am I doing there? I don't even know what that is. Get out of there. All right. So let's go to that paragraph again. Which is this one. All right. So this paragraph here. What's the three reasons? What's one of them? Then it says only 20% of Americans get enough exercise now. The childhood obesity problem has pushed doctors to aim younger to prevent poor health later.
It prevents obesity.
Well, it's not preventing obesity, but just the fact there is childhood obesity. So, so child obesity. Oops, sorry, it's not right. Childhood obesity, which is being fat, overweight, whatever you want to say. Is paragraph 4. Right? What's the other two reasons besides that? What's the other two reasons? Is that big enough on your screen, or is that too small for you guys to read it? What's another reason? Besides childhood obesity. So in those sentences, there's one more in that second sentence, and there's one in the first sentence. What are they? What's another one? What is another reason besides that? Jonathan? Mr. Tabara? Can you hear me? Edgar? Correct. What do you think? What does that first sentence say? Only 20% of Americans get enough exercise now, so what's another reason? Edgar? Are you there, correct? Can't tell if I'm lagging or not. How's my lag going over there, Diaz? Do you hear me?
Well, mister, why'd you type my name in chat?
Because I asked you a question and you're not responding.
Oh, I couldn't hear. Can you say it again?
I said, what is another reason, using that first sentence there? Only 20% of Americans get enough exercise now. So what's a reason?
Oh, is it that that you can lose more weight if you?
No, I just read the sentence. Only 20% of Americans get enough exercise now.
Oh, that means a lot of people don't get enough exercise, right?
There you go. So not many people are getting enough exercise. That's also paragraph 4. Do you have that? All right, so there was one more reason in that paragraph at the end. So we already put childhood obesity. So it says childhood obesity problem has pushed doctors to aim younger to prevent poor health later in life. So what's another potential issue for people? It's at the end of the sentence. What problem might they have if they're not exercising? Arthur, what do you think?
They have poor health.
Yes, but what's the last part of it, which is important? Poor health when?
In life.
Later in life, yeah. So if people don't exercise young, it hurts them later. Paragraph 4 too. Right, so if you don't exercise when you're young, when you get older, problems. Okay, so that's the last one there. Make sure you write that down. Some of the highlights of the advice were released on Monday, November 12th at the American Heart Association conference. The advice was also published in the Journal of American Medical Association. 3 hours a day of activity is recommended. The biggest change: start young. Guidelines for the activity used to begin at age 6. The new ones say preschool ages 3 through 5 should be encouraged to take part in active play throughout the day. The guidelines don't call for a certain amount, but say a good target may be 3 hours of various levels. That's similar to guidelines in many other countries and is usually a amount of activity that kids do. So that paragraph we just read is about little kids. That's not really what we're looking at. We're looking at older kids, right? So from the ages of 6 through 17, so this paragraph applies. At least 1 hour of moderate to vigorous activity throughout the day is recommended. Does anybody know what the word moderate means, or vigorous? What does that word moderate mean? Does anybody know? I will tell you if you don't. Moderate. Moderate. Or vigorous. Does anyone know either one of those words?
Moderate is like in difficulty, right? Like hard.
Well, vigorous actually means hard. What does moderate
Yeah,
mean?
but I'm talking about like it's like medium difficulty.
Yeah,
like,
it's exactly what. Yeah, so moderate's exactly that, right? So moderate means medium, and vigorous means hard. Okay, so it's basically saying that kids should be participating in either kind of medium to hard level activity. So that's another reason we can put here. So kids should be active, moderate to vigorous, or how much did they say? 1 hour, right? Yeah, 1 hour. Okay, so that's another reason we could use, and that's paragraph 6. Sure you are writing this down. Yeah. So that's the one kind of negative, right? Being on remote learning. I doubt the gym teachers are making you run around super fast and super hard, right? Are they making you guys work out too hard? You guys are probably like doing jumping jacks, but I can't see them making you like run for an hour. Right? You guys are stuck in your houses. You can't really do as much. But ideally, you guys should be doing at least 1 hour of hard exercise a day. Most of it should be aerobic. Does anyone know what that word means? Aerobic, Aerobic. You've probably heard it before, like, all right, guys, time for aerobics. There's actually a word called anaerobic, and there's a word called aerobic. Does anybody know the difference between those two ideas? Aerobic versus anaerobic. What does aerobic mean?
I think I know what it means.
What do you think, Mr. Cabret?
Because they always go like the aerobic capacity. Is it like energy? I think that's what that's
Close. It has to do.
Yeah, I thought it was something like that because they go like the aerobic test, and that's when they say that for the pacer test. And
Yeah, exactly. So a pacer test is an example of an aerobic activity. If you look at actually the last part of the sentence here,
running.
Running counts as aerobics, yeah. So the kind that gets the heart rate up, that's what aerobic activity is. Anything that makes your heart pump fast. Okay, so things like jogging, running, skiing, doing what else kind of fits into that, like jumping jacks, jump rope. Those are all aerobic. So anything that pumps your heart. Okay, anaerobic, if I put like the letters A and N in front, means the opposite. It actually means things that don't require your heart to beat fast, but maybe they work like your muscles, right? Or your bones to get stronger. So weightlifting is considered anaerobic. Some sports or most sports are probably considered anaerobic. So you're not necessarily beating your heart super fast. You're just using your muscles. All right. So um, if you look at this last part, we need to put that. So kids should be using their muscles 3 times a week. That's paragraph 6 as well. So the first one was kids should be like using active stuff, and then the other one saying that you should be doing like muscle building 3 times a week.
I noticed that this text is mostly
Yeah, this is all positive. There's like no negatives here. That's what you're gonna say, right? Yeah. So again, you never know what you're gonna get. We just keep the option open just in case it does say something negative. Sometimes authors notice that there's a negative, so they put it in there, but we haven't seen any yet. For adults, the recommended time for exercise stays the same. Again, we're not going to include this because this is about adults. Adults need at least 2.5 to 5 hours of moderate intensity, or 1.25 to 2.5 hours of vigorous activity, at least 2 days a week. Adults should include muscle training, push-ups, or lifting weights. There's one key change, though. It used to be thought that aerobic activity had to be done for at least 10 minutes. Now, even short times are known to help. Even a single short time activity gives short benefits such as lowering blood pressure, reducing anxiety, and improving sleep. Sitting too much is especially harmful. That's no bueno. Why is that no bueno? Because what are we doing all day? What do we do every day?
we sit on
Yeah,
something.
exactly. We're sitting in front of our screens. No bueno. Not good for your body. That's why I make sure every day that I walk for at least 3.5 miles. Keep my body somewhat exercised.
3.5 miles.
Yeah, it sounds a lot, but it's not. It's like an hour and 10-minute walk.
And do you do it consecutively, like do the whole thing, or do you just
Yeah,
do,
it just
like
that sounds like a lot. It's not, dude. An hour and 10-minute walk is not that much. I'm not running. I'm walking.
you're not tired?
Yeah, I should be running, but my body's freaking old. I wish I could run like I used to. So I'm trying to get it back into some shape.
Just listening to that reminds me of Halloween. Ooh.
So
That's been shared.
yeah, walking is good for your body. It's good to. It's actually better from jogging, but my back is a mess, unfortunately. All right, so kids can be taught the importance of exercise. The advice is similar for older adults. Older adults should do the things to promote balance, such as leg raises. Again, this isn't for kids. Dr. Valentin Fuster, a cardiologist is the doctor that measures your heart at New York's Mount Sinai, has been working on a goal to get young children to exercise. Fuster's project has worked for years with the Heart Association and Sesame Workshop, the producers of Sesame Street. At the conference, Fuster gave results of a 4-month program to improve knowledge and attitudes about exercise and health. The program worked with 562 kids ages 3 to 5 in Head Start preschools in Harlem, New York. It was really successful, Fuster said. Once they understand how the body works, they begin to understand physical activity and its importance. When brains are young, it's the best opportunity to set health habits that last, he said. All right, so this last sentence is actually 1, 2. So we're going to just copy and paste it right over here. Let me make that bigger for you guys to see. I'm just going to put last paragraph. Right. Now, again, we are not taking these notes down for our health. Right? We're taking them down so that we can actually use them in our body paragraphs. So the majority of you guys did not put any quotes at all to support your ideas. So I'm going to just show you the process of doing it, just so that you guys can do it to your own body paragraphs. So you weren't necessarily responsible for having those quotes just yet, but now you should be able to put them in. So make sure you have this down. Now I'm going to just show you how to do it properly. So I'll put this over here so you can see. All right, now close that up. So again, what are the three things, you should know this by now, what are the three things you should have in your body paragraphs? There's three letters. What are they? Body paragraph.
It's transition,
Yes. What's
transition,
the next thing?
reason,
Yes. And
then details.
good. Okay, so those are the three things I need for each body paragraph. One reason. Let me put that in there so you don't forget. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just make a quick paragraph so you guys see what your body paragraph should look like. So if I use this last idea, this is the quote I'm actually going to use. I'm just going to put it here for me to use it in a second. So I know I got to start. I don't want to do that. I know I need to start with my transition. Yeah. Okay. So let me just copy this quick. I'm just putting it here for me to use in a second. So I need a transition to start first, right? So I'm going to go with the good old. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see. Again, you don't have to write this, just look at it so you know what to do. All right, so I have to start off with a transition. So I can do first of all, so say this is my first paragraph, I put first of all. Now using this idea, right, so this quote is, when brains are young, it's best the opportunity to set the health habits that last, he said. So this is basically saying kids should be playing sports because you want to set them up when they're young because they build up habits. So I'm going to say, first of all, kids should play competitive sports because they learn how to build healthy habits. Okay, so that's my transition. This is my reason. The rest of this is details, but I want to make sure that I have a quote, which I already have over here that I'm going to use in a minute. So now I'm going to put just more details. So kids are very impressionable. If everything that they learn when they are young, they follow. It is necessary to build up kids' knowledge of the world and to build routines. This should be kids' apostrophe. Okay. One of the most important routines is taking care of one's health. Now, this is where I'm going to use the quote. Okay, so remember, when I quote, I have to use this guide here, which kind of just tells me what to do. So let's go down to this slide. This is kind of the slide that's important. So I got to have a sentence starter. Then I put the quote. Then I explain it. Okay. So I'll choose one of these and then go like in the text. So in the text, then I put the name of the text, which is, the name of this text is this. I'm just going to copy and paste it. Okay, so that's the name of the text. The doctor states, and I'm going to put the actual quote, which is actually right here. I can just move it. This is what he says. When brains are young, it's best the opportunity to help us at last, he said. And then I put my end quote. Okay? Now the last part is I have to explain why this thing proves me right. So I would say, this doctor has conducted a study on children. He has proven that kids benefit from sports at a young age. We must make sure that kids develop these healthy habits. There you go. That's what your body paragraph should look like. I have my transition, I got my reason, and then I have all this detail to back it up, and then now I included a quote, and I talked about why that quote proves me right. Does everybody understand what I just did? Does anybody have a question?
Yeah, you made a body paragraph, right?
Yeah, I did a body paragraph, but I made sure I put quotes. So you guys have a bunch of these.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, you guys have a bunch of this information here that we did. We did like, I don't know, probably like 20 of these things already. So you can be using these reasons and then just including the paragraph quotes from where they're from. That's why I put all this information. So all you do is go back to the article, go to that paragraph, find what it says, and then include it into your own answers. Does everybody understand?
Yes.
Does anybody have a question? All right, so you're working on the body paragraphs, which actually should be done. You should be done with the first three. Make sure, again, if you did not include the body paragraph, the second one, that you attach it. I'm not grading to see if you have a quote because I didn't really go over that with you, but you should have a body paragraph, body paragraphs done. Actually, you should have 3 done, but I'm just grading the second one. If you finish the 3 body paragraphs and put the quotes in there, work on your introduction. Anybody who needs help with anything, just shoot me a message and I will help you with anything that you might need help on. All right, so I'm just going to stop this video. If you missed anything, watch the video.